Coach, since the last time we talked to you, I'm sure you've gotten a lot of rest and not much to do. But seriously, what's kind of been the plan of action since the season ended and with summer school starting up?
Yeah, it's been fast and furious. A lot of coaches have talked about the changes, and they're real. And just every day, you just wake up with a plan in mind, and some days that plan gets thrown out the window pretty quickly, and it literally is adjusting on some days hourly to what's going on out there. And we're no different than every other staff. We're trying to manage it as best we can, but there's a lot of moving parts. It's just different than it used to be back in the day, and everybody's trying to figure it out and make good decisions along the way. But the off season hasn't started yet. Hopefully it will soon, in terms of slowing down and getting amped up for the guys to return for summer school and academics and get back on the court and preparing for next season.
Obviously, you guys have made some noise the past week. I guess, what are your thoughts on Jimmy Bell, Andrew Taylor being able to bring them into what you guys are trying to build?
Yeah, people probably thought, we were taking vacation there for a few weeks, and it was pretty quiet on the recruiting scene for us, but we weren't. There's a lot to it, and, we were doing a lot of evaluating, a lot of conversations were had on the phone, and, everyone's roster is so fluid right now with the portal and potential grad transfers, but we're really excited about the two portal additions that we've had thus far. You mentioned Jimmy Bell. Just gives us an anchor, if you will, around the basket. He's got great size, lefty. He started 34 games for West Virginia in the Big 12. His numbers aren't maybe as gaudy as one would like, but if you get underneath it and really look, he did all that in 18 minutes a game against, great competition almost every single night, and just getting to know him and his background and what kind of person he is. We're excited for him to join our basketball family, and we think he'll fit right in for what we'd like to do in terms of just our daily expectations, and we're excited that he's part of us now. And then Andrew, he's someone that his numbers jump out at you, right? I mean, albeit it was a mid-major level, but a successful program. Coach D'Antoni's very respected. They won 24 games last year. He put up ridiculous numbers. I'm not trying to temper it, but in reality, they also play a wide-open style, and the ability to put up bigger numbers on raw data is there for the individuals on that team because of the higher number of possessions that they have. And so he'll have to make somewhat of an adjustment to our style of play. And it's different than what he's been used to. But having said all that, the ability to make baskets, the ability to be a good decision maker in the pick and roll game, both for himself and for the other guys on the court, I think just gives us an added dynamic that we've been searching for since the season ended.
Obviously, last offseason, there was a lot more spots to fill with transfer guys. Did you find yourself kind of having a different approach to the portal this season, with less spots to fill up?
Yeah, for sure. It's different. We were in scramble mode, last year, just trying to put a team together around the guys that decided to stay. And so we ended up having to sign a lot more guys in the spring than we are this year, at least right now. But it definitely was a different approach, having a season under our belt, understanding the league better, understanding what we feel is required to be competitive and to win SEC basketball games. Just now having gone through it, just makes sense, right? But then again, we were pretty specific on what we thought we needed in the off season, and we'll see if we make good decisions or not.
Coach, going back to Andrew, I mean, it seemed like it was a pretty quick turnaround from when he entered the portal to when you guys landed him. I guess what was kind of the recruiting process? Why do you think you guys were able to land him, so quick, considering all the other attention he was getting from other programs?
Yeah, that's probably a question for him more than for me. But we had some guys on our staff that had previous relationships with Andrew and his family, so that maybe gave us a leg up from the jump. And what we've learned is in this portal recruiting where kids have been there, done that, they've had visits, they've had to make decisions, they understand what college basketball is like. And not everyone's like this, but they're making decisions quickly. And to be honest with you, for me, I've had to make a serious adjustment because I'm not a quick decision maker when it comes to recruiting. Like, I like to dive into it and really evaluate their play, get to know, who they are in terms of background, phone calls with people in the business that I know or we know and that is more familiar with the particular situation than we are. But unfortunately, that doesn't always work in portal recruiting, because if you're not, and not every case is the same, but in a lot of these situations, if you're not on him the day they hit the portal and you're not ready to make a decision on offering a kid or bringing him in right away, you're behind. And I've dragged my feet, not because of my staff, but because of me in some situations since I've been here that, in my opinion, have cost us opportunities to add quality recruits to our program because of that mindset of the old way of kind of taking your time and really getting deep into the evaluation process that we go through. And I've had to adjust, and our staff has had to adjust along with it. And we were able to, like you said, get in there real early. And you just never know how they're going to unfold. Everyone has a different idea of what they're looking for when they enter the portal or any recruiting situation. And, usually their plan never gets to fruition in terms of, I'm going to take this many visits or that many visits. It usually doesn't work out that way. They all usually have more visits either lined up or thinking about lining up, and then they're done with it and they make their decision. And fortunately for us, it worked out.
Coach, speaking of making decisions, I know Tolu's had a lot on his mind as far as his future. I know you really can't speak probably on what he's thinking, but has he come to you for any advice or anything like that?
Just like last year when we got here, first meeting, group setting, individual meetings, the couple days following when we arrived, we've been through this now, and we've had the same mindset for every one of the young men that are in Tolu's position. The guys that we inherited last year, we told them from the jump that we were going to give them space. We understood that they had decisions to make, and when we were new, it was more about, hey, give us a chance to get to know you. Let us share our vision for this program, for you specifically. And now that we've been here a year, it's a different type of retention. Like Tolu knows us, he knows me. It's not as if I feel like, it's straight recruiting mode like it was last year when we arrived. It's more, hey, go through the process mentally, physically. We're going to support you. We're going to be here for you to, be a sounding board if needed. But at the same time, he knows we're biased. So he's not just leaning on us when he's trying to figure out what's in store for his future. But he's been great. We've had great, open lines of communication. And, I'm sure everyone's, wanting to know, what his near future plans are. And we are too. But he's on his own timetable, and he's trying to figure it out.
A lot of excitement around the program right now, of course. Coming off a tournament appearance, your contract extension, a lot of good portal news of late. And I think season ticket renewals are just around the corner for fans and things. What's kind of your message maybe to the fan base right now this summer as start looking ahead to November? Well,
it's part of our sell, to be honest with you. We've talked to a lot of recruits and potential recruits about, a year ago at this time when we arrived, we were new. I had no experience in the Power 5 level, and most of my staff didn't either. And, we were selling them a dream, if you will, a vision that we had for what we could do at Mississippi State, and that we weren't going to wait. We didn't have a 2 or 3 year plan. It was about our first season, and our goal was to make the tournament. And now, after accomplishing that goal and doing what we did, we're just like, hey, we did what we said. We say what we do around here, and we feel like we're in a better position now than we were a year ago. Things can change, like I said earlier, hourly and daily, but in terms of our fans, that's kind of what we've sold our guys is, it was kind of flat and dormant when we walked out there the first few games of the season. And I think, I'm not going to lie to you, like, I was a little disappointed, but I didn't know exactly what to expect either, but just was so pleasantly surprised by the continued addition of people in the hump as the season unfolded. And students were unbelievable, especially after the first couple weeks, and they kept growing and growing. And then we had some sellouts, and what we're selling everybody on is, hey, I mean, we're going to unfurl a chapter in the Mississippi State history books with adding our year to the banner of an appearance in the tournament. We're going to open a $50 million renovation of the hump. There's a lot of good things that are going on. We've established ourselves now. People are excited about Bulldog basketball. I think our community has proven to be excited about our style of play, at least from the comments that I'm receiving. And then, like I said, by the continued addition of fans as the season progressed. So, hopefully we'll have better crowds in the fall, and hopefully people are excited about next season. Obviously, a lot of people will come up to me and, hey, I can't wait for next year, and my response is usually the same, like, I can. Like, I'm looking forward to a break and the stress of a season, and it'll get here when it gets here, and by then we'll be ears back, ready to go. But right now we're knee deep in a lot of other things, and that season will roll around.
A couple questions. One you may not be able to answer, but we know a couple schedules. Anything that you can say yet, or how is the schedule process coming along?
It's coming along. Like, it's just part of the deal. Everybody's funny about hooking up, and we're in the middle of a lot of discussions with a lot of different opportunities. We are playing in the Mohegan Sun exempt tournament in the fall. I think that's public, if I'm not mistaken. We're playing Washington State, and then the other side is Rhode Island and Northwestern. So that'll be a competitive 4-team tournament, which we'll get 2 games on. And we're just in the right smack dab in the middle of trying to piece that thing together.
Looking at your recruiting class, and I know the roster can make things different with needs and stuff, but you got 3 high school kids, 2 JUCO guys, and at least 2 transfers so far. Is that the kind of balance you want, or obviously next year you'll probably have to hit the portal a little bit more with so many guys being seniors, but is that the kind of the balance you shoot for?
Definitely want a balance, but like you alluded to, it will be determined by who we have coming back. The saying right now that I've been coaching by for many years is to stay old, and now more of college basketball is trying to stay older because of the results that are happening. You got 22, 23-year-olds out there competing against, at times, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, and that's the decided advantage for those teams. And then with COVID still being in play, you've got opportunities to even have older kids than you normally would, and that will phase out here in the next couple years. But that's also a reason why college basketball is older than it has been historically. But in terms of a balance, we definitely want a balance of high school additions along with either junior college or portal additions, but that's always going to be determined by how many guys we got coming back. And listen, it's a fluid situation. I mean, the portal's closed for entering it, but there's I don't know what the percentage is. I don't know. I'd imagine, I'm guesstimating, 10, 15 maybe, because of all the guys that are in college longer than they used to be because of COVID, that that are out there all across the country that could be grad transfers at any moment. And we've got some of them in our own program. So, when I say this thing changes hourly, it does, and we're always mentally trying to prepare ourselves for what-if scenarios that could happen any day. And we're in constant communication with our players to see where they're at and make sure we have those open lines of communication. No one likes to be surprised, but at the same time, we're not the only ones in this predicament. There's a lot of schools out there that are in the same boat as we are, and we're just trying to get ourselves prepared for any what-if scenarios that would happen. You'd love to have your roster set. Hopefully, we'll have it set much earlier this year than we did last year. We weren't set until first day of school last year. In a perfect world, come June 1st when we roll back into summer school, we'll have that set, but there's no guarantee of that. Who knows what could happen today or tomorrow or next week, but that's the goal is to have everyone in place and all of our players here on campus so we can have a normal 8-week summer session.
When you bring in guys like Josh Hubbard and Trey Fort and Andrew Taylor and guys like that, do you feel like that kind of improves, your outlook as an offense, with your ability to shoot the basketball?
I think probably on paper, and I think most fans are excited about, having more guys on paper that have shown the ability at different levels, obviously, to be able to knock down some jumpers. And it's no secret that, that was an Achilles heel for our team last year. And, I'm not proud of that stat. We're proud of the fact that, we overcame some shooting woes, both from beyond the arc and from the free throw line, and still, had a really good season. And I think that speaks volumes to the type of kids we had in our program in terms of their resiliency, their togetherness, their ability to win close games, their ability to just figure it out on the fly, even though, it could have been a little bit easier if we knocked him down. But it's also been, a recruiting tool for us as well. Hey, you could be different. We need you. Certainly, we've tried to use that to our advantage as well. But again, on paper is one thing, getting it on the court's another. We wouldn't have signed any of these guys if we didn't think they could move the needle. But my experience says, time will tell. We're certainly getting excited about all of them. But, the longer I do this, the more I'm like, I need, months to really understand, who we have and what they're made of and what their daily is and how mentally, tough are they and how organized can they be to, handle the days that are thrown at them when they're not used to it. So, here come June 1st, we'll have a better idea of what we got.
How have you seen, some of the returning guys who got that taste, of March Madness, guys like Shaq, Cam Matthews, kind of respond in this offseason as they kind of get ready, if obviously wanted to take another step forward next year?
I mean, I think they're excited / relieved. For all of us, when we are a part of college basketball, that's always, a goal to be a part of March Madness, to experience March Madness. And I said it many times since the season ended that I feel good that we were able to get that done for, these guys that have never experienced it. We had one guy in our program as a player that had played in March Madness prior to last season. So for them to have those memories, to be able to, put that bullet point on their resume, if you will, makes all of us feel really good. And certainly, we didn't stay as long as we wanted. We left some meat on the plate, if you will. And I think they're motivated. I think they know now kind of what it takes and what it could feel like if you were able to not only get in but advance. And we're a long way away from talking about anything like that. I mean, we haven't obviously got our team on the floor, have no idea what that's going to feel like. But I do believe that the returnees are pretty excited about what happened and are motivated going forward.